No one wakes up one day and decides to live a small, defeated life. Losing is not a decision. Losing is a program. It is installed slowly, quietly, and repeatedly until the mind accepts defeat as reality. This story is not about failure. It is about how failure is taught. When Alex was a child, he believed the world was limitless. He asked questions without fear, dreamed without apology, and imagined a future bigger than his surroundings. But the world doesn't reward limitless thinking. It corrects it. Be realistic. Don't aim too high. People like us don't do things like that. These sentences didn't sound dangerous. They sounded responsible, logical, protective, but they were the first lines of code. Every time Alex failed at something small, the reaction mattered more than the failure itself. When he made mistakes, he was criticized. When he hesitated, he was labeled weak. When he tried something new, he was warned of embarrassment. Slowly, the brain learned a dangerous rule. Trying equals pain. Not trying equals safety. That rule became the foundation of his philosophy. School rewarded memorization, not curiosity. Jobs rewarded obedience, not vision. Society rewarded fitting in, not standing out. And so the program continued to update. Alex didn't notice when he stopped dreaming. He didn't notice when his goals became reasonable. He didn't notice when his inner voice stopped asking, "What if I win?" and started asking, "What if I fail?" That is how losing philosophy works. It replaces possibility with probability. It replaces courage with comfort. It replaces growth with excuses that sound intelligent. Years later, Alex wasn't failing. He was surviving. He woke up tired, worked without purpose, and slept without peace. He blamed circumstances, luck, the system, never realizing that the most powerful enemy was running inside his own mind. The losing philosophy whispered daily, "Now is not the right time. You are not ready. Others are more talented. You missed your chance." And because the voice sounded like his own, he believed it. This is the most dangerous part of a losing philosophy. You don't feel controlled. You feel normal. People with losing philosophies don't look defeated. They look busy. They look responsible. They look realistic. But deep inside, they are programmed to avoid discomfort, avoid risk, and avoid growth. One night, Alex asked himself a question that changed everything. What if my limits are not real but learned? That single thought created a crack in the system. For the first time, he realized that beliefs are not truths. They are habits, and habits can be reprogrammed. The moment you become aware of the program, it begins to lose power. This is where transformation starts, not with motivation, but with deprogramming. Because before you can build a winning mindset, you must first uninstall a losing philosophy. A losing philosophy is not built in one dramatic moment. It is trained, daily, quietly, invisibly. After Alex questioned his limits, something strange happened. Nothing changed on the outside, but inside, he started noticing patterns he had never seen before. He noticed how his mornings began with urgency instead of intention. He noticed how his phone trained his attention to scatter. He noticed how conversations revolved around problems, not solutions. He noticed how everyone complained, but no one acted. This was not coincidence. This was conditioning. A losing philosophy survives through repetition. Every morning you wake up without a plan, the program strengthens. Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," the program confirms control. Every time you scroll instead of build, consume instead of create, avoid instead of confront, the program updates itself. Alex realized something uncomfortable. His life was perfectly designed to keep him average. Not by enemies, by habits. The mind does not care about your dreams. It cares about what you repeatedly do. And repetition is the language of the subconscious. The losing philosophy teaches 3 silent lessons. Lesson 1, discomfort is danger, so avoid it. Lesson 2, failure is identity, so fear it. Lesson 3, time is unlimited, so waste it. These lessons are never spoken out loud. They are absorbed through behavior. Alex remembered how often he said, "I'm not motivated. I don't feel ready. I'll wait for the right moment." But motivation was never the issue. Clarity was. A losing philosophy confuses movement with progress, busyness with growth, noise with meaning. The system rewards distraction, because distracted people don't challenge their limits. When Alex tried to focus, resistance appeared. His mind fought back. Suddenly, he felt tired, bored, restless. That was the program defending itself. Because growth threatens the comfort zone, and comfort zones protect losing philosophies. He noticed something else. The people around him were not bad. They were just programmed. They normalized excuses. They joked about dreams. They mocked discipline. They glorified laziness disguised as balance. And slowly they pulled each other down. Not with cruelty, but with familiarity. A losing philosophy spreads socially. If you try to change, you become different. If you become disciplined, you become extreme. If you aim higher, you become unrealistic. The system punishes those who attempt to escape it. That's why most people quit quietly. Not because they can't succeed, but because success separates them. Alex realized the truth. You don't lose because you're weak. You lose because you were trained to stop trying, and training can be reversed. But first, you must stop identifying with your thoughts. Not every thought is yours. Some are inherited, some are repeated, some are installed. The losing philosophy survives because people believe, this is just who I am. But identity is flexible. Beliefs are editable, and the mind can be rewritten. The moment Alex stopped arguing with his limits and started observing them, they weakened. Awareness did not destroy the program, but it exposed it. And exposure is the beginning of freedom. Because once you see the chains, you can no longer pretend they are invisible. Deprogramming does not feel empowering. It feels uncomfortable. When Alex decided to challenge his losing philosophy, he expected confidence. Instead, he felt exposed. Because when a belief is removed, the mind feels empty. And emptiness scares people more than pain. The losing philosophy had given Alex certainty. Even if that certainty was small, now uncertainty replaced it. And the mind hates uncertainty. The first rule of deprogramming is this: do not fight your thoughts. Question them. Alex stopped saying, I can't. He started asking, why do I believe I can't? Most beliefs collapse under inspection. He realized that many of his limits were not based on evidence, but on repetition. Someone said it once. He heard it often. He accepted it permanently. That is not truth. That is conditioning. As Alex pushed against old habits, resistance increased. Suddenly, discipline felt exhausting. Focus felt painful. Consistency felt unnatural. That wasn't failure. That was withdrawal. The mind reacts to change the same way the body reacts to addiction loss. Because comfort is addictive. A losing philosophy keeps you comfortable. But comfort slowly kills potential. The second rule of deprogramming: expect resistance. Do not personalize it. When Alex tried to wake up early, his mind argued. When he tried to work in silence, anxiety appeared. When he tried to improve, fear intensified. This was not a sign to stop. This was proof he was moving in the right direction. Growth triggers internal alarms. The losing philosophy whispers, go back to what's familiar. Relax. You deserve rest. But rest without progress becomes stagnation. Alex learned to replace emotional decisions with structural rules. He stopped asking how he felt. He followed systems instead. Systems don't negotiate. They execute. The third rule of deprogramming: change identity before results. Alex stopped seeing himself as someone trying to succeed. He began acting as someone who trains daily. Identity shapes behavior. Behavior shapes results. Waiting for motivation keeps people trapped. Acting despite resistance breaks the trap. Slowly, something shifted. Alex noticed that discipline created clarity. Clarity created confidence. Confidence weakened fear. The losing philosophy lost power, not because Alex defeated it, but because he stopped feeding it. Beliefs starve when ignored. The mind rewires through proof. Every small win challenged old programming. One focused hour proved he could concentrate. One completed task proved he could finish. One uncomfortable action proved he could endure. Momentum replaced doubt. Alex understood a final truth. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems. And systems are programmable. The losing philosophy does not disappear overnight, but it fades when replaced with structure, action, and self-respect. This was not transformation. This was reconstruction. And reconstruction takes patience, because the strongest minds are not born confident. They are rebuilt intentionally. Once the losing philosophy weakened, Alex faced a new challenge. What replaces it? Because the mind cannot run on emptiness. It will always default to something. A winning philosophy is not positivity. It is precision. Alex stopped chasing inspiration. He started designing his days. He realized something powerful. Winners don't decide every day. They pre-decide. The winning philosophy is built on automation. Less emotion, more structure. Alex created non-negotiables. Wake time, work block. Learning hour, physical movement. No debate, no mood checks. The mind protested at first, but systems don't care about protest. This is how dominance is built. Quietly, consistently, without drama. The losing philosophy relied on hope. The winning philosophy relied on process. Alex also changed his language. Words are commands to the subconscious. I'll try became I will. I hope became I execute. I'm tired became I'm training endurance. Language shapes identity. He stopped consuming random information. He fed his mind selectively. What you consume daily becomes your internal dialogue. The winning philosophy understands this. Environment programs behavior. Alex adjusted his surroundings. Less noise, fewer distractions, clear goals visible daily. Clarity replaced chaos. He also accepted a difficult truth. Winning is lonely at first. When Alex changed, some relationships weakened. Not because people hated him, but because alignment disappeared. The winning philosophy values standards over approval. Discipline offended comfort. Focus threatened distraction. Consistency exposed excuses. And that was fine. Because respect always follows results. Alex learned to delay reward. Comfort later. Growth now. Most people want outcomes without transformation. But transformation is the price. The winning philosophy does not rush. It compounds. Small actions, repeated daily, create unstoppable momentum. Alex no longer asked, "Is this hard?" He asked, "Is this aligned?" That question changed everything. A winning philosophy does not eliminate fear. It trains action despite fear. Courage is not emotion. It is behavior. Over time, effort became identity. Identity became reputation. Reputation became reality. Alex was no longer escaping failure. He was building inevitability. Because when systems run daily, success stops being a hope and becomes a process. And processes, when protected, always win. Success does not end the losing philosophy. It challenges it. Alex learned that the old program never fully disappears. It waits. It waits for exhaustion, for comfort, for distraction, for ego. Relapse does not begin with failure. It begins with relaxation. When discipline becomes optional, the losing philosophy senses opportunity. That's why winners protect their systems. Even when life improves, Alex created relapse alarms. When he stopped planning his days, that was a signal. When excuses sounded reasonable, that was a signal. When comfort felt deserved, that was a signal. The losing philosophy speaks in soft language. It never demands. It suggests. You've earned a break. One day won't hurt. You can get back on track tomorrow. That's how momentum dies quietly. The winning philosophy does not negotiate with comfort. It respects recovery, but never abandons structure. Alex learned to separate rest from escape. Rest is intentional. Escape is avoidance. He scheduled rest. He did not drift into it. Mental mastery requires monitoring, not obsession. Awareness. Alex reviewed his days. Not to judge, but to detect patterns. Patterns reveal truth. The losing philosophy hides in patterns, skipping habits, lowering standards, justifying inconsistency. Awareness exposed relapse before it spread. Alex also learned to think long-term, not in weeks, in decades.